Hello, 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 world. What a wonderful feeling to listen to some Sociable Healing, the Amitza Media podcast with your host, Teresa B. Thank you all for tuning in for some Sociable Healing, a podcast produced by Amitza Media Independent, featuring myself as your host. This podcast is all about conversation, education, entertainment, and just being yourself. I created this platform because I want to share some of my life experiences, which include the nature of being a woman, a mother, a military veteran, and just my growth of being okay with what God created me as. Some of the topics will range from silly stuff I've experienced or seen, healthy living, which is also associated with building better relationships, my thoughts on selected movies and TV series, and people who served in the U.S. military, just to name a few. After I share a brief narrative, I will present the question of the day that is related to the topic. And for all you listeners, I ask that you share your response to the question, because your unique view will not only address some of the social dynamics, but will also be inspirational and encouraging for someone that may need your message. There will also be special guest appearances to share their perspectives on this podcast, because it's a great way to bring variety and a sense of understanding of one another as we continue to grow and develop healthier relationships through our personal transformation. This is a place where we can laugh, listen to other perspectives for a deeper understanding, maybe cry or get angry, and laugh again. And by the end of the day, we will be liberated because we were able to release our emotions the healthy way, just through socializing. It's all about instilling strength, wisdom, love, and value to ourselves in order to spread it amongst one another. So who wants to be better instead of being bitter? Then let's get our day going the right way, because it's Charge Up Monday. And on Charge Up Mondays, I share an event I've witnessed or experienced that is related to self-care or just something silly to get you charged up for the week. And today, it's about our peace at our pace. And it takes me back when I was a child in school, and my teacher gave us a timed exercise given on a worksheet. Some of us may be familiar with this exercise. And so our teacher told us the individual that completes the exercise first and correctly within the allotted time wins and receives a prize. I'm like, I got this. Oh yeah. It was about 10 simple questions consisting of basic math and questions about ourselves. But by the time I got to the 10th question, it stated if I made it this far, I lost. This exercise was different than the other assignments I was getting good grades in. In fact, I thought it was much easier. So I reread over the questions and my answers, wondering how was it possible I lost. I then read over the directions that were before the questions, and it stated that I am only to write my name on the paper, and that is the end of the exercise. It was obvious I didn't read the instructions, and I was definitely upset because I wanted the prize. I was only focused on completing everything on the worksheet within the allotted time, but that wasn't the purpose of the exercise. Sometimes it's easy for us to tell others to take their time, but why do we choose to not take our own advice and be nicer to ourselves? I spent the first 15 consecutive years of my adult life at a fast pace. Fast pace could be great, but to not pause and refill my tank ultimately impacted my overall health. I served in the military for 15 years. My permanent duty stations changed 7 times. After my training, I was stationed in Kentucky, South Korea, Texas, California, New York, South Korea once again, and North Carolina, while also taking care of my child as a single parent. And within my 15-year military career, I also deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Seems like a lot in 15 years, right? My military career was rewarding because I survived, and I've learned many lessons along the way that gives me strength every day. One of the biggest lessons I've learned was to understand how to slow down. It was not as easy to do. especially at the age of 17 when I gave an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulation and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Whew. I surprise myself sometimes when I remember the oath I gave in 2002, and I had no clue what it really meant. The Constitution of the United States I was support and defend it? I remember in government class learning some of the amendments and stuff, but I will support and defend it against all enemies? What enemies? Who are the enemies? But I'm glad that I had the opportunity to experience many of the things I was exposed to, because I received tools that many people would never have a chance to touch or use. Because once I realized what taking care of myself supposed to truly look like, giving an oath to support and defend myself against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance and obey the orders of God according to biblical doctrine, I chose to make the necessary adjustments I needed to in order to be at peace with the pace that I believe God has ordered over me. And so I began practicing how to focus on myself by first ending my military career the honorable way, of course, and choosing to do things that I can control and want to do at my own pace. I could look back and say, yes, I did procrastinate. I did have these awful coworkers and supervisors and feel bitter about it. Or I can look back to realize how stronger I have become and intentionally focus on what it takes to get better. And be okay with taking all the time I need, because I am the author of my own story and I choose to be at peace at my own pace. I choose to look through a positive lens on my life because I love myself enough to want to feel better. There is more than enough time for me to do what I have to do for myself. I choose to focus less on what other people are doing or what they may think of me, so I can have enough time to concentrate and get to know myself. Don't get me wrong. It would be nice to be at a certain chapter in my life. But because I understand my story has already been written from beginning to end, I must take my time to go through each chapter in the order God has chosen so I can have the wisdom to translate it properly and appreciate it once I get to that desired chapter. Rushing through my life was frustrating and took longer for me to understand what I'm supposed to do versus taking my time and being in a moment. The 5 self-love language guide I created keeps me on the right pace in order for me to have true peace. Yes, self-love languages. Before I can learn how to express my love to anyone, I must first practice how to commit to myself by understanding all 5 languages. I must build a stronger bond with myself so I can truly embrace what love should feel like in order for me to have the ability to communicate that with anyone else and know what I'm supposed to receive for myself. My words of affirmation consist of positive self-talk to encourage myself. I can always improve, so I keep trying. I am enough. I have courage and confidence in myself. These are a lot of the words I use when I want to affirm the things about myself and learn how to love myself. My acts of service is listening to a social podcast, such as this one, of course, as it focuses on personal growth and building better relationships. I treat myself to a mini trip at a place that I would love to feel relaxed or have fun, such as downtown Chicago overnight or Las Vegas. I listen to my favorite music while I keep my body moving in order to maintain a healthy physical appearance that I'm satisfied with. And I make it a priority to have quality time to myself, to do things such as watch a movie that will make me laugh, because I love comedy films. These are the moments that should take up our time. If I wait until I'm done caring about what other people may think of me or what they are doing day to day, I'll miss those moments that should take my breath away. I should feel as though I have more than enough time to do what I need to do for myself before I can give any time to anyone else. If we never seem to have any time for ourselves and what matters to us, we're choosing not to give any time to ourselves. Yes, it's uncomfortable to say, but we must learn how to be comfortable choosing what is best for ourselves, even if it doesn't work for anyone else. We make that choice by what we say yes and no to, what we commit to, what we fail to commit to, what we make ourselves available to, and what we pay attention to. It's our time to use or to give away as we choose, and our actions speak much louder than our words. And the beauty is when we stop seeing time as something that runs away without us, and we focus on being in the moment, we choose how we experience that time. If we feel like life is doing us rather than the other way around, we must take our time because it's ours. It's ours to do as we choose because we are in control. If we're dealing with new transitions, unpleasant health, or challenging circumstances and we feel as though we're not going as fast as we like to overcome them, it's okay. We're all a work in progress and we're doing okay. We must give ourselves the space, be patient to ourselves and kind. Take our time because we'll get there. But we have to be honest with ourselves first. We have to be truly honest with what it is that we're struggling with. If we can't be honest with ourselves, we won't be able to receive the things that we should receive that would be best for us. So we have to reclaim it, embrace it, enjoy every moment. Don't count it by minutes, measure it by moments. Whatever our circumstances are, whatever lies before us today, this week, this month, this year, next year, here's my challenge and my invitation. Be at peace at your pace. And tell me this, how much alone time do you give yourself each day to focus on anything I shared about some of the self-love languages? And which one is your favorite? Is it the acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, maybe physical touch? Or what about quality time for yourself, to yourself? I would love for you to share them as we absorb positive vibes and get charged up for the week. And now it's time for the Amitza Media Resource Corner, where I share one resource that may be useful for you or someone you may know. The 5 Self-Love Languages Guide offers 5 ways to express commitment and experience various ways of loving yourself. Before discovering another person's love language, one must obtain and practice using all 5 languages by applying it to themselves first. This method should help us to naturally observe the way our loved ones express and receive their love. And when we can accomplish how to demonstrate caring and loving ourselves, we should have the ability to understand others in the love language they practice. This is something I focus on more often than anything because of the mistakes I've made in previous and current relationships, whether it's intimate or friendship. Please subscribe to AmitzaMedia.com to be added to the email list, and you'll also receive the 5 Self-Love Languages Guide. If you're already a subscriber, your guide is in your inbox following this podcast. And that's our resource of the day. If you have any good resources or topics to share with others, please send it to info@AmitzaMedia.com, as I may share it on the next podcast episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the email list to be the first to know about any new Amitza Media products, giveaways, and upcoming events. Just go to AmitzaMedia.com for more information. All the resources and links from this podcast, along with Amitza Media products, can be found on the website as well. Before I go, I want to share my reflection of the day. And the reflection is life is meant to be experienced and lessons are meant to be learned. Put yourself out there. Do things you've never done. Live a life where at the end you have no regrets. I'm your host, Teresa B. Be at peace at your pace. And thank you for tuning in to Sociable Healing, the Amitza Media podcast.